Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today's topic is going to be the healthy nutrition hierarchy, or what factors and parameters are most important when it comes to a healthy, balanced diet that's mainly aimed at longevity and success at lifting and other mainly intellectual tasks. And as often, I prepared some slides, so let's dig into it. First, the starting meme. And this one illustrates the point that people often think that the choice of foods is the most important aspect when it comes to nutrition. And as we will learn in the presentation, this is most likely not the case. It's far less about the actual choice of food than about certain other constraints and parameters. Okay. But now let's directly dig into the hierarchy, as we all know the basics of healthy nutrition. And the base layer of this hierarchy is long-term sustainability and consistency. When you choose a diet form, no matter what you choose, make sure that you can stick to it in the long run and that you actually can be consistent with it over a long period of time. Further, it is important that you adapt to your diet, aka that you do it for long enough to actually see and experience if the diet is good for you. The next layer of the pyramid is the right amount of calories. I would argue that about 80 to 90%, that's obviously just a broad generalization, of a diet when it comes to health is just the right amount of calories. For example, people tend to put sugar and other, constituents of a diet in a very bad spotlight. And in a sense that is true, as when you are in a surplus and consume large amounts of sugar and refined foods, those things tend to be very unhealthy. But when you are in a caloric deficit, it seems to be rather, meaningless what you eat. All the things are more or less equally healthy. So it's much more about the amount of things you consume than about the actual items. That said, the items itself do have some weight. You should mainly focus on unprocessed foods. Pretty much all food you can eat is to some degree natural, as everything we do eat has been either an animal or a plant at some point. So saying that it's natural is actually worth nothing, pretty much. Even the most unhealthy, sugary piece of bakery or candy or whatever has been a plant at some point, either sugar cane or whatever. But that does not make them healthy. All of them were plants at some point. The distinguishing factor is how many processing steps were in the chain to the end product. And if there are many, chances are that the product is not well received by many bodies. So when you do choose food items, try to not cut out any food groups and make sure to mainly aim for unprocessed foods. The next layer of the pyramid is macro composition of the food, or rather the protein content of the food. Most people that aren't athletic don't have to think about this one as much, as they can pretty much eat whatever they want and will probably get everything they need without thinking. When you are lifting or are otherwise active, however, your requirements change a little and protein becomes much more important for you. You should probably aim for about 2 grams of protein per pound of body weight for the optimal amount. And this has several advantages, as first you can obviously repair the muscle and tissue damage better, and it keeps you satiated for longer. And if you try to burn it for energy, you just get a fraction of it as actual energy, as 2 or more steps are required to burn protein for energy. Okay, and now to even less important things like meal timing. Meal timing is something that has been advocated a lot in recent years, but the effect of it are rather minuscule in my opinion. It doesn't really matter when you eat your protein when it comes to weight gain, for example. What it does is that it makes it, psychologically speaking, easier to diet, for example, when you have meals before, after, and sometimes even in your workout, because the workout will very much feel like a chore when you are not so well fueled, let's say. So from a psychological perspective, it makes some difference, but from a caloric perspective, it seems to be rather meaningless if you time your carbs not later than 18 p.m. or something like that. And then we have vitamins and essentials. And those are a rather oversold topic in my opinion, as everyone wants to buy supplements because supplements are so easy to buy and easy to consume, and they make so little of a difference. Vitamins and essentials like minerals or fats are very important for bodybuilder types of persons, as they have a much larger requirement than the average Joe. But every person that just starts out on the lifting journey has regular requirements, and regular requirements are covered by a regular diet. So if your food choices and everything are somewhat normal, the vitamins and essentials are really nothing to worry about. And the summary of this pyramid is that the lower layers are much harder to fulfill than the upper ones, and you should really put emphasis on them if you have problems with them. Obviously, this is a generalization, and it's not true for every person out there, but for many, in my experience. And the actual food choices don't matter as much. What matters are the right amounts and other general constraints. You have to be within a healthy range for pretty much everything. You shouldn't prioritize one food type, for example. Only carbs is probably not the best, only fat is probably not the best, and just aiming for very low calories is probably not the best. Eating only in a very small window is probably not the best. Those are just all extreme views that are probably not very conducive for your long-term consistency and able to maintain a diet. And that is really key when it comes to a healthy, long life. Okay, let's now come to some takeaway points. And the first and most important item is, in my opinion, the ability to stick to a diet forever. If you cannot stick to it forever, you should consider switching diets. Unless you are doing, for example, a contest preparation or something like that. But those are rather different conditions that are not discussed in this video. I am mainly targeting the average person that just starts out or is somewhat experienced on their self-improvement journey. And diets in general are just, well, strategies for hunger management, and there's nothing special about them. Just choose one that works for you and makes it easy for you to be consistent with. Further, vitamins, minerals, and essential fats are a no-brainer for a regular person when it comes to diets. You don't have to think about it. You will do it right automatically when you eat unprocessed food and maybe some fruit or vegetable item in a day. And foods in general are very complex and not just the sum of micronutrients and macronutrients. When we just consume, let's say, items in pill form, we still tend to get sick. They are no substitute for a healthy diet, and everyone knows that. You can't just replace everything with just pills and powders. There has to be something in real food that makes it healthy that we haven't discovered yet. Food is complex, and we do not know everything about it. And it's a very good idea to stay conservative with diets and stick to the foods that our ancestors ate, because we do know that those are a sufficiently good choice, let's say. And since every food was either a plant or an animal at some point, natural or organic is worth nothing as a label when it comes to health. Try to aim for unprocessed. just buy a slab of meat, just buy grains, just buy potatoes or something like that. Something that has not undergone lots of processing steps. Those items, on average, tend to be much healthier than, for example, candy or margarine or whatever. And in summary, there aren't really superfoods or the optimal diet. There are just right amounts. And obsessing with the right foods, the superfoods, is very likely just a cope for not wanting to eat less. It's probably your brain that tries to rationalize. Oh, I have just to eat these items and I will be ripped in no time. There's seldomly a person for which such an approach works. In essence, it is calories in versus calories out. It's just that the requirement changes over time, and some diets, for example, make it easier to stick to a low amount of calories. Okay, that's pretty much it for today. I hope you learned something, and if you enjoyed the content of this video, feel free to subscribe and like the video. And if you think I missed some important points, feel free to let me know in the comment section, and I might respond to that and maybe correct the content of this video in the future. Until then, I wish you a pleasant day and goodbye.